All right, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. And today, I'm going to be dissecting and breaking down my official 2024 NBA draft. So if you follow the Soros channel, which I'm sure you do, you saw a video version of this. So I'm going to go through my mock more in depth, what my reasoning was, instead of kind of like a sentence or two snippet that I do for the video purpose, for obviously entertainment reasons. And for the pod, we could sit here and we could break it down. And for my mock specifically, this could change. Like, I'm going to go through some picks that I'm going to be like, I may change this in a few hours. Like, when I'm live streaming on the Soros channel, link to that will be in the description, so you guys can watch me 7:30, probably to like midnight streaming. Whenever the draft ends up ending, we are going to talk about all things draft over there, and I'm very excited. So we are going to just walk through each pick specifically. And like I said, I may change some of these. Like, there's obviously the Knicks trade. Like, I made this before the Knicks trade. I'm still kind of debating on what I want the Knicks to do at 24 and 25. Like, in this mock, I have them taking two wings, right? Could they still take two wings? For sure. Like, that's a premium position in the league, and if you hit on a wing, that's better than hitting sometimes on a guard or a big man. So I think the Knicks could still be in play for two wings. I don't know if they're bringing back Hartenstein. I don't know if they're trading Mitchell Robinson. There's a couple different things that could happen with them over the next couple of hours. And yeah, we're just going to kind of walk through this. Let me know what you guys think of the mock, and we'll hop right into it. I mean, we'll get to the Rockets at number 3, what's going on with them. So number 1, we got Zaccharie Risacher. Now, I have my big board. Can I actually show you guys? This is my big board as well. Alex Sarr is my number 1 player. Zaccharie Risacher is my 4th ranked player in this class. So yeah, it's a little weird that, like, I don't know, Alex Sarr is not working out with the Atlanta Hawks. I don't really know the reasoning. Reporters asked him yesterday when he was doing a press conference, like, why haven't you worked out? He goes, that's something, like, I don't really need to share. Wherever I'm working out is where, like, I'm giving 100% no matter where I'm working out, and that's like an agent thing. And it's actually kind of crazy because, like, Alex Sarr played for Perth, and the street, like, I'm looking at right now is actually Perth. That is wild. I didn't even know that street, like, sign was there. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. With Risacher being the number 1 pick here, I think Atlanta, like, I don't really like this. I think that's what they're going to do. I think it's more likely, I don't know, maybe they take Alex Sarr and they're like, screw you, dude. Like, you're going to play here no matter what. Mobley didn't want to go to Cleveland. Like, it's going to work out. You get to play with Trae Young, who's going to get you the ball, and you can operate in the half court, catch lobs, and you can get 14 points and 10 rebounds with ease in your rookie season. And as long as your offensive game develops, so will your stats. I don't think he would hold out. We haven't really seen that in the NBA, like an Eli Manning situation from the 2004 NFL draft. We could see, I remember, like, Jabari Parker really didn't want to go to Cleveland back in 2014, right? Like, this is not anything new with players not wanting to go to specific teams. But, like, at the end of the day, you may not have a say in it, right? So I think what Atlanta should do, I mean, obviously that's, like, easier said for me just because I'm not in the locker room. I'm not making this $1 million decision. I would still take Sarr 1, but I believe Atlanta is going with Donovan Clingan or Zaccharie Risacher 1. And I think sides are pointing to Risacher going number 1. And I feel bad for him because he may average 8 points in his rookie season and shoot 34% from 3 and 39% from the field, and people are going to call him a bust. And I'm going to feel bad for the kid because, he's a project bite. He's someone that you think if you can get north of 35% from 3 in his rookie season, and his on-ball defense, which he showed promise with last year for JL Berg, can come over right away and be a good help defender for a team that doesn't really have good backcourt defense in Trae Young and DeJounte Murray, and who knows who's on this roster next year. I think that's fine. And I think Risacher could be a 3rd or 4th option, and that's maybe what you want to do here. That's maybe safe, because who knows? Like, maybe Sarr is the next Evan Mobley, or maybe he's the next James Wiseman, or Reed Shepherd is the next Steph Curry, or he's the next guard that can't defend and he really can't finish at the rim, or something like that, right? Or Donovan Clingan is just an all right big man, and like, you just hope that Risacher's floor is a little bit higher than some of these other guys that you're in consideration with the number 1 overall pick. So I think all signs are pointing to Risacher number 1, and I'm sticking with that. Nothing has really came out that I'm changing my mind. So I think right now, I think it's honestly, like, I don't know who's more likely to go 1, Sarr or Clingan, if it's not Risacher. But I'm going to stick with Risacher 1, and Sarr 2 I think is almost a lock, just because I think he's going to be there and he fits the Wizards roster and what they want to do. He wants to go to Washington probably to put up really good numbers, and obviously he can leverage that in his rookie extension. You really just need to play good for 3 years. 3 years, and it's really that 3rd year, if you show promise, you are going to get a rookie max extension. We just saw Scotty Barnes get $250 million for 3 good years. And one of them really wasn't a great year in year number 2, right? So as long as you have 2 good years out of the next 3 or good numbers and show progression, and it doesn't matter to winning basketball for Sarr because he's going to be on a team that's rebuilding. So that's all that really matters for him. And I think for Washington, it's a really good fit. He's my number 1 player in this class, like I mentioned. He's not in the tier of his own, but I never really moved him out of the number 1 spot since like January, when I don't even know who my other number 1 guy was. I think I flirted with Reese Shea, I flirted with Cody Williams, I even flirted with Reed Sheppard a little bit before everybody hopped on the hype train. I flirted with Stephon Castle, flirted with a lot of guys, but Sarr has always been that staple point, and you're getting him at 2. That's going to be a really good grade for me, and I'm excited about some Bilal, Denny, Sarr lineups. 3, we got Houston. Now, this is still a wild card team because I thought the whole way Reed Sheppard, I still think it's going to be Reed Sheppard. Now, when Mikal Bridges was traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the New York Knicks, that was happening on a corresponding move that Brooklyn was getting their first-round picks back from Houston in exchange for Phoenix's first-round picks that they got in the Kevin Durant trade. Now, apparently, like what Woj just tweeted out, and Wendy was talking about it on ESPN this morning, the Rockets wanted to do that trade, which I don't agree with, because you could have had a chance at Cooper Flagg. But then again, to play devil's advocate, the Nets probably would never have done the Bridges trade if they weren't getting their picks back. But going back to the Rocket side of things, they wanted the Suns pick to try to make a push for Kevin Durant. Now you're like, what the like Woj casually dropped that on Twitter. Didn't make any sense, right? Just came out of nowhere. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, who knows? Like, I don't know. Kevin Durant has been traded multiple times before, or at least once before, and has changed teams multiple times before. Like, that could happen. If I'm Houston, I saw Wendy talking that they would draft Klingon at 3 and then use Şengün and those Suns picks to go out and get Kevin Durant. Why? I don't like that. I think you're jumping the gun here. The Western Conference right now is too competitive, where Jalen Green, Kevin Durant, Klingon, Amen Thompson, like, it's a solid group, right? You're not competing in the West. And maybe you think you have, like, Fred VanVleet. I mean, it's a good team. You had Kevin Durant from Şengün. I do think you're a considerable top 6 team in the West. But I also think there's a chance Şengün, who's been improving every single year, and you keep pick 3, or you keep those Suns picks and maybe leverage them for another guy. I'm sure they wanted Mikal and they didn't get him. That could be a much better team than going out and getting Kevin Durant. Now, what I'm also okay with, because I like this a little bit more, I don't think it's smart to get Kevin Durant. I think if we're in a year from now and the Suns are just realizing this can go south real quick and we have an out to get our picks back, maybe you throw Kevin Durant to a team. Obviously, if you can get your picks back in Şengün for Kevin Durant, I would do that right now. I know it's tough to sell to your fan base, but I would do that right now. But I think Houston, what also they could be intrigued about is if Phoenix does go into a fire sale, they can give them their picks back and they can get Devin Booker. I think that's what could be enticing to Phoenix. Like, say you get Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, and all your first-round picks back. I'm just throwing out a random dumb hypothetical, but I'm just saying there's something out there that they could like. Or maybe it's Reed Sheppard and Amen Thompson and picks. I don't know, but I think they could also be holding on to those picks for 2026, 2025's offseason, where Devin Booker could somehow become available for the right price, and having Phoenix's picks probably enhances your offer a little bit more than the rest. So I'm still sticking with Reed Sheppard. I mean, there's a chance Klingon could go up there. I mean, that is a possibility. So we'll see if those rumors grow strong, and then I'll have up until like 7:30 to change my mock, and then we'll hop into it. Castle at 4. I'm also growing a little bit less confident about. If Reese Shea is on the board at 4, like, if Klingon goes 1 and Reese Shea is on the board at 4, that's the pick. I think if Reed Sheppard falls to 4, that's the pick. But if it's some way, shape, or form, Reese Shea, Sarr, Sheppard, 1, 2, and 3, I think it's Castle at 4, because he's going to give you perimeter defense. He's going to be able to play off ball, and you can try to experiment with him at the point guard position. And if it doesn't work out, I think he'd be just fine as a complementary piece. Bruce Ellis at 5, I'm pretty confident about. I keep forgetting. It's like Arm Tellem is the CEO of the Pistons, or is it Arm, and then there's Michael. One of them is the agent of Bruce Ellis, one of them is the CEO. There's a connection there. Every mock has this. He fits Trent Langdon's kind of development system that he liked in Herb Jones, that he liked in Trey Murphy. So I'm going to be confident about Bruce Ellis at 5. I still think there's a potential chance if Klingon is there at 6, I think Memphis is in prime position to trade up. And that's what I predicted in my mock. I only did one trade, and this was it. It's basically Memphis trading 9, and we could say a 2025 top 10 protected first round pick or lottery protected pick to move up 3 spots to share yourself Donovan Klingon to have a front court of Triple J and Klingon. And I would be a big fan of that in Memphis. And I'm mocking that still. I think that's a pretty fair trade and reasonable, because I don't think Charlotte is really in the market for Klingon right now. Who knows? Maybe they try to move up for Sarr, or they move up for Klingon themselves and they move on from Mark Williams. I even saw that rumor on Twitter. Like, that's a possibility, but that's what I'm going to rock with right now. And I feel like I constantly need to like look down at my phone to like make sure there's nothing going on Twitter right now, because like, who knows, man, we could randomly get a blockbuster deal right now. So who knows, man. Cody Williams, though, is at 7 to the Portland Trailblazers for me. I feel confident about this one as well. There was Edey at 7 smokescreen. I mean, if you know the mock, it's at 14, I have Edey. So, hey, if Edey goes to Portland at 7, I'll take a half point on that. I think they can go for Cody Williams' upside. I think they could look to move Jeremy Grant this offseason. There's going to be Dallas Mavericks rumors with Jeremy Grant. So you'd be taking back like Tim Hardaway Jr., you'd be taking back Dwight Powell. I don't know what the young asset is back. Maybe it's a first round pick. Maybe it's a swap. Maybe it's 2 swaps. Maybe it's Jaden Hardy. I don't know. But I think for Portland, if you can get out of the Grant contract and pick up 1 future first from Dallas, like it's a 2031 first, I would do that. And I think Cody Williams has a chance to shine there in Portland. Since I went Castle at 4, I got Tidjane Salaün at 8. Now, if Zachary Risacher falls to 4, I am pivoting off the Salaün idea at 8, and that probably becomes Devin Carter. Unless Castle is still on the board at 8, then you go Risacher 4, Castle 8, which is also a possibility as well. 9, with Hornets trading down, I have them getting Dalton Knecht. You could put him in between LaMelo and Miller. You could put him in between Miller and Mark Williams. You can even bump Miller down to the 4, Knecht at the 3. He's not going to be a good defender, but he's going to be, I think, someone that can help further the development of some of those other guys there. I'm still high on Nick Smith. Obviously, he can at least get buckets for you, and he's going to be one of the better shooters in this draft. I like his shot creating ability. I do wonder if he's going to struggle to create some separation at the NBA level, but I do think at worst, he's going to be a good spot-up shooter for you and a nice complementary piece, and you tagged on a first-round pick. I would love to see Reed Sheppard in Charlotte. I'm also a fan of seeing Stephon Castle in Charlotte. One of those guys could be there at 6. You don't know, but I doubt Reed Sheppard is there at 6. And even if Castle's there at 6, I don't know the smokescreen if he doesn't want to go to a team that already has a franchise point guard. So number 10, I got Nikola Topic to the Jazz, which I'm still cool with this one right now, because Topic is maybe going to be out for half the year next year. This team, I think, has question marks still as their franchise point guard. Just add another white dude, right, to Utah. Well, I mean, I guess they traded away Kelly Olynyk. But yeah, you got Nikola Topic there, who I'm a big fan of. In my big board, he is number 7, even with the ACL scare, because I think he can be a modern-day prototypical point guard. And I think Keontae George may be better suited as an off-ball combo guard that can play point guard in a pinch. And you can now use Topic as your facilitator and your playmaker and your lead initiator for whatever you're trying to build in Utah. Because I think Utah may be the team to watch. Brooklyn, we know, is taking the step back. Good on them. Chicago maybe is flirting with taking the step back. I think Utah's got to pivot one direction. Houston has a good enough core and assets to make a move to go all in. I don't know if Utah is doing that. Like, Utah, you either have to extend Markkanen and maybe move Kessler or these draft picks or some of these young players for another guy to help you out in Utah. Either it's a DeJounte Murray or somebody like that, even though I kind of disagree with that, unless somebody becomes available and you could buy low on. Maybe it's Zach LaVine, I don't know. Or you trade Markkanen this offseason and you bottom out in the Western Conference. I think it would be a shame if you end up with the 11th overall pick next year when your pick is actually top 10 protected. So you don't want that to happen. And if you're good enough, which I think they're trying to do, you may, like, you're going to lose out on picks 11 to 15, and I don't think they're going to be bad enough where they're going to land a Cooper Flagg or a good enough pick to get a Nolan Traore or one of those guys in the 2025 draft. So I think Utah is the team to watch. Devin Carter at 11 to the Bulls. I think if he's there, he's going to be a Bull. They're probably looking for their Alex Caruso replacement, and I think that could get ownership somehow excited about bringing back DeRozan, rolling Zach LaVine out there with Devin Carter, and then you have Kobe White and Dosunmu and Josh Giddey into the mix. Yeah, they need a big man, but I don't know if they're an ED team. They could definitely be a Khalil Ware team. 12, Ron Holland to the Thunder. I want Holland to go to a winning environment. I think it's also common that he's being mocked 13 to the Sacramento Kings, which could definitely happen. But Holland, good defender, super athletic, and this guy could also be leveraged in a trade later on if OKC wants to go that route. And with Salaün off the board, I don't know if there's a high upside play, unless they like McCain, who's also on the board, but I have McCain going 13 to Sacramento. Hometown kid there would be really cool. One of the better shooters in this draft. And I think now you have a really good core 4 of guards with McCain, Keon Ellis, Malik Monk, and De'Aaron Fox. And who knows, maybe Davion Mitchell has a little bit of value where you can move him for a big man out there. I'm sure you could. I don't know if it'd be as good as like a Nick Richards or somewhat of like a Goga Badatse, who I believe is a free agent. But I think Sacramento needs to add a big man. And maybe it's Zach Edey, maybe it's Khalil Ware. I do have Edey going 14. I do think he's going to go around this range. I highly doubt he goes to Philadelphia or Miami, though. Maybe he goes to LA. Maybe he goes to Chicago. Maybe he goes to OKC or Sacramento. But I think this is probably his floor, unless he makes it to 17 for the Lakers. But all the Draft Express ESPN rumors are saying that he's going to go like top 20 and potentially in the lottery as well. So yeah, I think I don't know. I think Edey could. I think he's going to go in the lottery. I do. Then we got the Miami Heat, 15, getting Rob Dillingham. There's going to be a slide with him, apparently. I know there's defensive question marks, but he was always mocked in top 10s. He kind of skipped some workouts. He wasn't at the combine, had an ankle injury. Like I said, questions with the defense, but he can be a microwave scorer. He can heat up. And Miami could look for a point guard who I don't think is going to be a great facilitator in this league. I threw out the Darius Garland comp, and I wouldn't be surprised if he developed some Darius Garland passing tendencies. Garland, in his limited sample size at Vanderbilt, didn't really pass it all that much. I forget about his high school film. I don't think I was too involved in it at that time to go that deep, but I mean, there's a chance Dillingham could still average 4 to 5 assists at the NBA level. That's perfectly fine with me. You look at Emmanuel Quickley at Kentucky, was not a good playmaker facilitator. These guys could definitely have those trajectories. We got Jacoby Walter at 16 to Philadelphia. He's a big boomer bust prospect. And then I don't know if I still love this one because I'm like, could he be a guy that could definitely benefit from being in the G League? And Philadelphia could look for somebody right now, but Philadelphia could also look for somebody that could give them good defense in Walter, in my opinion. You hope he's just shooting 37% from 3 and he's just used as a spot up guy, corner 3 guy in his rookie year. And then he has more potential and upside long term than like a Tristan DeSilva or Kevin McCullough to operate as a 3-level scoring wing for you. We got Kelowna at 17 to the Lakers. I love this if he falls to 17. I think this could be such a good environment under JJ Redick, who I think is going to actually give a shit and put a lot into player development. That's why I'm excited about Jalen Hood-Schifino next year, and hopefully Max Christie as well. And Kelowna Ware is someone that you could put in the front court with Anthony Davis if you're serious about moving him back to the 4. Bob Carrington and the Magic is one of my favorite fits in this draft because I think the Magic, like, you would think Anthony Black's the long-term point guard. Who knows if Anthony Black would be in a Paul George trade? I don't know what Orlando's like 3-year outlook is, but I think Carrington gives you a really good combo guard that even if he's not a point guard for you, he is a really good shooter. And who needs shooting? Orlando. And I think what he can give you upside at the 1 potentially is well worth taking him over a Johnny Furphy or Keyshawn George. One guy you could think about taking ahead of him is Isaiah Collier, who I'm like, I have to pick him somewhere, right? I think Toronto's getting an absolute stud at 19 in Collier, and I think he can actually work out with Emmanuel Quickley because Collier could play off ball. He's a good shooter. He's not the quickest guy out there, but I think him and Quickley can work off each other because I think that's what is one of Emmanuel Quickley's greatest traits. He could be an on-ball player, he could be an off-ball player, and he's going to have the defense's attention, how quick, shifty he is, and he knows where to get on the open floor. Like, I'm as big as an Emmanuel Quickley fan as you can get. It obviously pains me to see like the Knicks lose him, but I think him and Collier can really operate this backcourt in Toronto. I could see them going big man here for sure. Yves Missy's on the board, Filipowski's on the board, those guys, Tyler Smith. I got Tristan DeSilva going to the Cavs at 20. I'm all for them getting a wing that could score. Let's upgrade Georges Niang. Let's upgrade Dean Wade. I'm not a big fan of Karis LeVert, and DeSilva can do a little bit of everything, and I think is not a lose, like he's a winning player. He's not going to lose you games, and he's somebody that you can have on a rotation in a playoff series. And I like him, McCullough, or Terrence Shannon, or Jalen Tyson on the board at 20. I do wonder like how those guys' careers are going to pan out. So 21, we got Yves Missy going to the New Orleans Pelicans. I think this is mocked a ton. Who knows? New Orleans could be in the Isaiah Hartenstein sign and trade sweepstakes. They could be in the Nick Claxton sign and trade sweepstakes. Like, those are all possibilities for sure. But even with Missy being a backup 5, I am for that because he's an upgrade over Larry Nance, in my opinion. And you're going to use that athleticism to hopefully help him shine and then others around him. Tyler Kolek going to the Suns at 22. Maybe they get a free agent point guard to sign there. Maybe it's Chris Paul back on a minimum. Maybe it's Russell Westbrook. I don't know. But I think Kolek can help facilitate this offense. But if there's ever like an idea that you're trading Kevin Durant or some of these guys, which if that is all on the table, Kevin Durant for Şengün and your picks back, oh my God, you do that in a heartbeat. I would go upside here. Maybe you go George. Maybe you go Tyler Smith. Maybe you go Johnny Furphy or Pacomi Dadiet. Like, that could be an option as well. Filipowski to the Bucks at 23. They just kind of need a big man. And I think Filipowski, who can do a little bit of everything. I don't think at a particularly high level. I worry about his defense, but if you're playing next to Giannis, that's going to be more than fine. I had the Knicks doubling up on wings, and this is where it could change, like leading up to the draft. If the Knicks are able to get back Achua and they have Mitchell Robinson, maybe they still draft one with Holmes on the board, with Tyler Smith on the board. They could draft one or two of them. Maybe they get Bobby Klintman, but for now, I have them going defense here in George and Dunn, because I think the Knicks need to keep these two picks. This Knicks team is not super deep right now. Injuries are going to happen. Maybe they get a vet minimum or two, but I think they're a team that needs to draft both these guys, or draft players here that can develop and be actually cost-effective guys, because they're going to be making under $3 million a year, and the Knicks are about to be a first apron team, second apron team, so that's something they need to do. Tyler Smith to the Wizards at 26. I love this fit. Sarr not at 2. I'm a huge fan of this. I've seen Collier make it to 26 in mocks, and oh my god, I mean, I love that a ton. We got Johnny Furphy to the Timberwolves at 27. I think there could be a point guard option here. I don't know if KJ Simpson or AJ Mitchell goes in the first round, but I'm all for Johnny Furphy going to Minnesota. They need some shooters off the bench. Kyle Anderson, if he's back, not really a shooter. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, inconsistent at times. Yeah, Naz Reid is fine, but I think you need another knockdown guy, and that could be Johnny Furphy. Apparently, DaRon Holmes has a promise in the first round. Everyone's saying it's Denver, so that's what I'm doing with my mock. I think he's good enough where I don't think he should fall to 28. Where is he on my big board? Maybe he is that low. No, he's 20th on my big board. So, like, yeah, if Cleveland took him at 20 to upgrade the Tristan Thompson spot, I'd get that. Hey, if Sacramento took him at 13, like, I wouldn't be super shocked if that happened. But I have him going to Denver here at 28, to be honest with you. Now that the Knicks need big man help, I don't think he makes it past 25. And depending on what happens with Sarr, I don't know if he makes it past 26. I think the Jazz have a lot of depth on this team right now, and they got to see what they're going to get out of Bryce Sensabaugh next year, Walker Kessler in year 3, Taylor Hendricks, obviously Keontae George. I think there's a chance they go Bakomi Dadiet at 29, who could spend some time in the G League. I think he's coming over right away. It's not like he's a Eurostash guy, like maybe a Jurosic or Juan Nunez, and he's someone that could maybe like do what Hendricks or Sensabaugh did and play for you in March and April, and then you can see what you can get out of him, but could definitely experience and benefit from being in the G League. And to wrap this out, we got Baylor Shireman going to the Boston Celtics at 30. I love the Joe Ingles comp. And I think he's someone that can actually play make a little bit, can be like a combo guard off the bench, but is also a knockdown shooter in this class and could help the Celtics in the playoffs next year for a team that is obviously trying to go back-to-back. So, yeah, that is me dissecting my final 2024 NBA mock draft. I hope you guys did enjoy this. Like I said, I will be live streaming on the Sross channel, YouTube channel, SROS, if you want to go check it out. Thank you guys all for listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify as well. Make sure you guys that are on YouTube, go follow the pod down there. Going to be doing podcast exclusives over there, mailbag exclusives over there as well. So yeah, make sure you're following the pod over there. And yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. I was trying to think what I meant to say next. There was one more thing I needed to say. Oh yeah, the next episode is going to come out either tomorrow or Friday, and that's going to be just maybe full draft winners and losers, full draft recap and analysis, and then we'll probably get into the free agent primer as well this weekend. So thank you guys all for checking out this episode, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace out.